Craig, what happened on that night?
The tears streamed down my cheeks, pooling beneath my eyes. Rain whistled through my ears, pain shot through my temples, blood trickled down my raw lips, metallic against my tongue. The floor shook around me as the yelling penetrated the thin walls. I clutched the ragged blanket close around my frail shoulders, shivering as objects began to crash against the concrete floor, my father's rage becoming ever more destructive. A dark pool of liquid slowly seeped under the door to my room. A sick feeling mounted in my throat. My vision became blurred from the stinging tears. Pure emotion flooded my consciousness. A cold sweat trickled down my forehead. Everything glazed over.
Why did I do it? What's wrong with me?
Why
I'm a monster.
Only in books could I escape the memories. The writing allowed me to flee from reality and enter an alternate existence, a place where I could be something other than what I was. Some people say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but to me, a word is worth 1,000 pictures.
I see. How was your childhood after the incident with your father?
They told me I was brave and responsible. After all, I had been through so much. Only one person didn't seem to respect me. Deryk. He was born into happiness, bathing in the glory of his parents' wealth. He had been groomed from birth to take over his father's fish factory once his father retired. Deryk and I clashed a number of times, usually ending up in vicious fights.
And I'm going to assume that books helped you through this issue as well. Did this sort of obsession for books ever get you anywhere educationally?
My love for literature grew every year. Eventually, when I was 18 years old, I was given the opportunity to travel to America to study at Stanford University. When I heard the news, I was ecstatic, overjoyed, filled with happiness. America. I was going to America. What could be better, right?
And what was your experience there?
The first 4 months were as close to perfect as they could get. I was the head of my class in linguistics, and my studies were truly enlightening.
As close to perfect as they could get. What stopped it from being truly perfect?
There was a dream, a single recurring dream, which haunted me every night. It constantly tormented me, showing my home destroyed, in ruins.
Why did I leave them? It's all my fault.
This dream, describe it to me.
The crisp night air flows through my hair as I walk down the empty street. Moonlight pours on the forgotten suburbs. An unnerving stillness haunts the area, more silent than death itself. My wandering mind leads me to a broken-down car. I slowly creep towards the driver's seat when suddenly a rotten stench flows into my nostrils. Then the dream ends. I always wondered if it meant something.
Did you ever have an extreme reaction to the dream? How did it affect you?
I bought a plane ticket back home to Slovakia. The thought that it meant something constantly gnawed at the back of my mind. I couldn't let it go, and eventually, I decided that I had to find out the truth.
Slovakia? What happened once your plane arrived? What did you do?
If only I could have been there for him. If only.
I took a cab to my home. I walked through the abandoned streets, attempting to recreate the dream, each detail perfectly in place. A newspaper floated through the eerily quiet street. Dated December 31st, 2027, the pages were littered with futuristic concepts. A chill went through my body. This can't be real. This isn't real. Is this real? How am I in the future? I allowed my mind to flow freely, as it had in the dream. Before long, I spotted the car. I crept up to the wrecked automobile, heart hammering. I stood frozen in shock and terror. Staring up at me, from the driver's seat of the old vehicle, was a body, my own body.
This must have been a very difficult situation for you to deal with. How did you react? What did you decide to do next?
As you can understand, I was utterly shocked. Thoughts shot through my mind a mile a minute, and when I finally cleared my head, one remained. Can I prevent my death?
You seem to have handled the problem very calmly after you regained control of your mind. What do you think that was?
I think that maybe it didn't really scare me that much anymore. I had experienced living death in my childhood, so how much more frightening could actual death be? Yet, I think that's the point when my sanity began to slip away from me.
So it was mercury, correct?
Yes, next to the body was an open sushi tray, tinted silver with the mercury. There was also a book titled Family in Slovakia, The Story of My Childhood, written by none other than me, Craig.
Is that the only thing you noticed about the tray?
No, as a matter of fact, it wasn't. After I discovered that the sushi had been poisoned, I made my way back to the car, searching for more answers. As I approached it, I realized that something was missing. The body was gone. All that remained was a blood-stained seat, coated in streaks of silver, as well as the small sushi tray. I emptied the contents of the tray into a gutter on the side of the road and looked at the back of the packaging. A bright red logo gleamed in the light, reading Seslov Industries.
Wait, Seslov? You mean Deryk Seslov, the boy from your childhood? He made the tainted fish?
Yes, Seslov. Attached to the logo was a note, scrawled out in handwritten letters. It must have been blood, silver wisps spraying off of each letter. Don't ever speak about us that way again. I suddenly realized that in the book, Family in Slovakia, The Story of My Childhood, I must have portrayed Seslov and his family as very bad people.
Another very extreme situation. How were you affected by this?
I quickly jumped to the angry conclusion that I had to make Deryk pay, suffer for what he had done. The hidden rage that I so often needed to quell burst out of me. Violent urges raced through my mind, bringing me heavily to my knees. The pressure overwhelmed me, driving my consciousness to the limit. Violent convulsions took over my body, my elbows and knees banging against the rough asphalt, my temple hitting against the door handle of the car. Blood trickled from my forehead as I passed out on the ground.
Oh my God, how could I live with myself? I caused all of this. If it wasn't for my actions, none of this would have ever happened.
So this time it got to you, after all you've been through, and how you've handled yourself the whole time. You finally let something affect you. Why do you think this is, Craig?
I don't know. It's far beyond me. I can't understand it, so I definitely can't describe it. I just can't.
So what did you do next?
I made my way back to the airport. When I first discovered my body, my goal was to try to prevent my death, but at this point, I wasn't sure what I was trying to do. I staggered into the airport terminal, my eyes fluttering around frantically. In my daze, I boarded the plane. The plane ride flew by for me, as I was far beyond paying attention to such things. After the turbulence hit, everything went white. Once color returned to my eyes, everything was flipped backwards. The seats were then red, when before they were blue. Other things changed as well, but I could have cared less.
No reaction at all? This didn't bother you in the slightest bit? How did you feel when this was happening?
I don't think I could have cared even if I had tried at that point. I got off the plane. My vision was smudged. My hearing was sensitive. I couldn't smell anything. My nose was filled with the scent of insanity. My tongue could have been rubber. It was thick and incapable of use. Everything was numb, and I had no control of my arms or legs. My mind was off somewhere else, if anywhere at all.
And you think you had totally lost your mind at this point?
Yes, I believe I was beyond any sort of recovery after I got off that plane.
I see. Do you remember what happened next?
I made my way back to Stanford and went to my dorm room. I opened the door only to find a nail on the floor dated November 4th, 2027. I had somehow been moved partway into the past. The moment I sat down in the chair at my small desk, it all came rushing back to me. Anger, forgiveness, sadness, happiness, depression, joy, hate, love. All the long days, all the sleepless nights. They were all here. They all meant something. That was it. That was life or death.
All because of me.
Life or death? How? What do you mean?
Let me explain.
Please do.
This is what flowed through my head as I experienced it, or at least what I can remember. Family in Slovakia, the story of my childhood. I couldn't do it, but I had to. My sanity teetered on the edge of existence. A venom flowed through my veins, replacing my final strains of humanity. I battled myself, using the last of my sanity to fight back against the monster inside me. I fought my mental civil war, blood, sweat, tears, and all. The feelings, the emotions, they had to get out. A silent tear ran down my cheek, an embodiment of the last of my sanity. My eyes glazed over and I just wrote. It came and it went. I was a monster, out of control and unstoppable, until my rage could be subsided. But it couldn't. There was no stopping it.
So you wrote the book anyway? Why?
At the time, I would have said that it was because I was insane, but looking back on it now, I realize that everything happens for a reason. No matter how you try to bury your past, it will catch up to you. In my case, it was how I tried to evade my future, and I still ran into the same result. I still wrote the book.
So this is something beyond your control?
Yes, it was just the way it was meant to happen.
Why did I do this?
So that is the past, and now what are you going to do?
I'm going to Slovakia in a few weeks for a book signing. It seems that my book has already become very popular there. Whether that should be taken as a good or a bad thing, I'm not quite sure.
Okay, I'm baffled by you. I'm not sure whether you're completely insane or you just don't care about anything anymore.
Oh well, I'll see you for our next therapy session after I return from Slovakia. It'll be on January 6th, correct? Yes? Alright then, goodbye.
Take care of yourself, Craig.
I ruined my son's life, and I was the ultimate cause of his death. It's time for me to pay for my sins.
Hello? Is this 911?
Yes, what is your emergency?
I'm in the town of Caliste. I found a car. There was a body inside the car. Blood ran down his mouth and it was tinted silver.
Where are you, exactly?
I'm at the corner of... Oh God, what is it? Was it the...
Miss, hello, are you there?
Craig Cuisinas was found dead today in Caliste, Slovakia, due to mercury poisoning. We are currently putting all our efforts to finding who is responsible. Please come forward if you have any relevant information. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through